The, the way the IT teams work has adapted and evolved. The waterfall methodology has been widely used in the past in order to get projects completed against a deadline at a given cost and to a predefined quality. In this article, we'll define the waterfall method and talk some of its benefits and constraints. So, what is the waterfall method? The method, the model, is a linear or sequential approach to project management and works based on fixed dates, requirements, and outcomes. It is a linear or sequential approach to project management, and it works based on fixed dates, requirements, and outcomes. Teams do not require consistent communication and useless and unless specific integrations are required can be self-contained. So team members can also work independently and are often required to provide status reports somewhat less frequently when compared to an agile approach. A typical waterfall project is chronological and made of the following phases: requirements, design, implementation, verification, and maintenance. So, the requirement stage, throughout these five stages, written requirements, usually put into a single document and used for verification of each stage, are composed alongside constraints and functional and non functional needs of the project. Cost is described as our assumptions, risks, dependencies, success metrics, and timelines for completion. So, design, a high level design is created to describe the purpose, scope of the project, the general traffic flow of each component, and the integration points, followed by a detailed design which allows subject matter experts to implement the HLD design and to precise details. So implementation teams work to the design to create, implement, and test the solution. It is crucial that the single written document be as clear as possible, as the team who designs the system may or may not be the same. If changes are required during the implementation phase due to unforeseen issues with the design integration or even changes to the intended function of the system, this necessitates that a new design be created and signed off on before the implementation is completed. So, acceptance tests are then deployed and executed in the verification phase with the built solution further tested against the requirements to confirm the project meets initial expectations. If it does not, then an examination is performed to identify the shortfalls and a review is completed to determine any ratification actions. So finally, as defects are raised or new versions of project products are needed, maybe because they are no longer supported, planned changes are made by a dedicated ownership team. With the waterfall model, each stage can only continue when each of the previous stages are completed and signed off. As with most methodologies, the waterfall model comes with just as many benefits as constraints that can impact a project. So, let us look at some of the benefits and constraints you will need to balance with getting your project out of the door. The project scope stays relatively static, meaning cost and timelines can be determined early on in the project. By completing a full design early in the project, changes to systems stay minimal, meaning the cost to fix and alter designs is kept low. A structured approach to a project means that everyone understands what needs to be done and when SMEs can effectively plan their time over the fixed period. By having detailed documentation and designs, a project can lose key members without too much hassle, since the documentation describes in reasonable detail how any SME of the product or skill are needed to complete the work. It is hard to allow for new requirements in an ever changing world. For example, an organization or industry wide change of specifications would take a long time to adopt, with the project needing to return back to the requirements and design stage. A project that has dependencies on relatively unstable products which are constantly in flux may also cause constraint. For example, if the project makes use of software technologies with very rapid cycles and paces of change, then the project needs to have fixes being implemented on a monthly basis. This makes design and documentation very difficult and means risk and assumption must be embedded into the estimation with widely varying degrees of accuracy. It is difficult to estimate the total time a project will take to complete. Each organization has different processes and each process has different issues, including SME shortages, long delays in provisioning software, and a lengthy approval process. A large amount of contingency is more often than not added into timescales. From the start of the project, lots of subjects and outcomes will be undermined, undetermined, and only put into production in the final stages of the project. This creates a risk which gradually diminishes as the project progresses. Whilst this risk can decrease with good practices, it still creates a good deal of uncertainty.